Namaste, yogis. It's Judge Dawson. Welcome to Power Yoga Flow teaching series. We're going to talk about cueing, C-U-E-I-N-G, cueing. Now, cueing is very important on your teacher journey because you notice in many classes, especially if you didn't have art training, a lot of the teachers must practice while they're teaching in order to convey their message to the student. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There are some people who, in fact, love to practice while they're teaching. I'm one of those people. And I have people that I know who are just those who like to go for it and put power through it. But one of the things that will set you apart as an amazing teacher is your ability to speak power to people's yoga and power to their flow. So that's what we do in Power Yoga Flow. So we're going to have this conversation and then examples on cueing. Now, when we talk about cueing, first of all, it's important to know that your cueing is just as important on and off the mat. So with the Power Yoga Flow training, we actually talk about leadership as much as we talk about yoga. So in order to be a good leader as well as yoga teacher, cueing is very important. So what do I mean by cueing? I mean the ability to direct people using your words, your mouth, your sound, and your descriptions. That means no hands, right? Or demonstration. Think about it off the mat. Off the mat, if you are able to communicate effectively, you can achieve many of your goals. Because if we think about it, all the problems that we have every single day, and you know we talk about everyday things, whether it's relationships, raising a child, dealing with your coworkers, many times those problems relate back to an inability on someone's part to communicate. So when we talk about cueing, you're able to give verbal commands, verbal directions, or descriptions on where you want the person to go, what they want to experience or what you want them to experience, and how you want the outcome to appear. That's what cueing is all about. And again, it applies off the mat in your leadership journey as well as on the mat. Now, if you establish good cueing on the mat through your practice with me, Power Yoga Flow, you will become a more effective communicator off the mat. And the opposite is true also. If you communicate very well off the mat, cueing will not be a major challenge to you. It's just something that you need to practice, something that you need to develop. All right, so we're going to talk about 3 areas of cueing that's very important. And within these 3 areas, there are 3 points that I want to cover. 3 areas, 3 points each. Area number 1, your voice. Your voice. Your voice must be loud. And what I mean by that is you need to be able to project your voice so that your entire class can hear it. Now, maybe you'll need the assistance of a microphone, or maybe you can develop that through your practice. But your voice has to be loud so that you can project what you want to convey. Now think about it. Off the mat, it's the same thing. It's almost like the loudest lion gets the kill, or something like that. But you get my point. People who are perceived as leaders, go-getters, self-starters are often the loudest. Now, I'm not saying that's always true, but we're talking about cueing. So loud is one point. The second point is you have to be clear, using clear words and speech. Now, with clarity, it's important to make sure that you are communicating in a way that everybody can understand. So if you have a class full of people who are Hispanic, you want to make sure you don't just speak Arabic, right? So clarity all depends on your audience and your ability to make sure your words are directing them appropriately. Number 3, encouragement. Your voice has to be encouraging. So even if you're loud, it has to be nice. Even if it's loud, it has to be encouraging. So when we talk about giving good cues in yoga, we're talking about your voice and the 3 areas of your voice: being loud, being clear, and being full of encouragement. Your second area is your sight. Your sight. And within the sight, we have the 3 points. We have 1, as a teacher, you have to be able to physically see your entire class. Because the only way that you can be good at cueing is if you can see what people are doing. So position yourself in a way that you can see your entire class. Number 2, you have to be able to see yourself in the pose that you are cueing. Now that may be the hard part, because you can see other people, but if you're not doing the pose, how do you see yourself in the pose? That comes from constant practice of the particular pose or the sequence that you're teaching. So even before you tell someone downward facing dog to halfway lift, you have to visualize yourself in that pose or making those moves. And why else is that important? Is because you want to make sure you give them the path of least resistance or difficulty to go from one pose to the next, which requires you being able to see yourself doing it. Number 1 was physically see the entire class. Number 2 was see yourself doing the pose. And number 3 is you have to see into the future a little bit. So what that means is you have to know what your class is, your entire class series from front to back, so that you can then know how to move a person through your cues. So your sight, when it comes to cueing, number 2, sight is so important. Seeing the entire class, seeing yourself doing the poses, and being able to see into the future. What pose is next, and how do I get the person into the pose in the safest and most flowing manner. Cueing again, talking about number 3, speech. Your speech. If you want to be a good yoga teacher, you have to be able to communicate well. You have to put emphasis on your ability to speak. So, make your language plain. You can throw in the Sanskrit terms if you want, and depending upon the level of your class, they may appreciate it, but beginners don't like it because beginners feel lost. So in your instructions, your cues, your speech has to be plain. Number 2, direct. Make sure your speech is direct. Right foot forward, left arm in the air. Whatever it is that you're instructing, make sure it's clear, concise, and crisp. Don't leave any room for misunderstanding. Because I'm telling you, you're going to get it anyway. They're going to look around the room. They're going to act like you didn't tell them where to go. So you have to make sure that you've done your best job to make sure your language was crisp, clear, and direct. Number 3, when it comes to your speech, is make sure you use visual locations for your cues. That means you have to know the room that you're in. So you'll say, turn your body toward the mirror on the left, or turn to the back of the room, or turn your toes to 12 o'clock. All of those are ways to give cues that are using visual, physical examples of where you want to go, your location. All right, so that's part 1, talking about cues. Remember, we have 3 areas of importance: your voice, your sight, your speech. Within your voice, loud, clear, and encouraging. Within your sight, see the whole room, see yourself doing the pose, and see into the future, what's coming next. And when it comes to your speech, make sure it's plain, make sure it's direct, and use physical examples of where to go. Namaste.